Matches Balone.
Hey guys, it's Matches Balone bringing you guys another DC TV toy box review. Today we're going to be looking at the DC Collectibles DC Comics icon, Mr. Miracle. So before we get into the actual figure review, I kind of want to go over the packaging. This is the box Mr. Miracle will come in. You get the Mr. Miracle action figure with all the accessories surrounding him. You'd also get DC Comics on the side, the Icons logo with the circle and the characters logo, DC Collectibles. On the side you get the character's name, Mr. Miracle. On top you get a stylized 4. On the other side you also get a stylized 4. Mr. Miracle is the 4th figure in this toy line. Mr. Miracle logo, DC Comics Icons, Mr. Miracle, Earth 2, DC Collectibles. Earth 2 is the story where this character design is based off of. In the back you get an image of all of Wave 1, which is a close-up image of the action figures. DC Comics, Icons, you get a sculptor and a designer, and DC Comics logo. So yeah, that's pretty much all for packaging. This figure is really great. He comes with a total of 5 accessories. One of the accessories he comes with are these flying saucer discs. I believe they're called skimmies. And it's really easy to attach to the figure. You can see right there is a peg sticking out. And then the figure itself has these peg holes on the bottom of the boot. So all you gotta do is line it up and push it in. Yeah, and it attaches itself real nicely. It doesn't fall off, so don't be worried if you're gonna hang this figure or on a flight stand or something. It should stay on his foot really nicely. I like that it is a translucent plastic, but I don't like the fact that you kind of see this this molding right here. It would have been nice if it was all just one solid plastic piece. But if you have him flying straight forward, you shouldn't notice it too much. So, still great. I think great additions for Mr. Miracle. Another accessory he has is the mother box. I believe Mr. Miracle is in Apocalyptic, and people or characters from Apocalypse use mother boxes to open up boom tubes to Earth. So I think that's a really great addition. For those of you who don't know, Mr. Miracle is actually an escape artist, and that's why he's called Mr. Miracle. Just to kind of give you guys a little bit of a background. He also comes with these open hands. The hands, they do have the ability to hold the mother box. I'm not going to show it to you guys right now because you do have to fidget with it a little bit, but they could hold the mother box if you guys so choose to. I'm going to demonstrate how to switch out the hands. It's a real simple push and pull. You're going to just want to pull out his current hand and then put in the new one. And it's simple as that. When you hear, they do have these notches, so when you hear it click all the way in, that just to confirm that it's there. It's tight. It's not going to be loose, and it's not going to fall off. So for the rest of the figure review, I will just stay with the close-fisted hands. So I really like this figure. Just as a side note, I think this might be probably my favorite one so far in the toy line. But yeah, let's talk about articulation. So right here, at first I do want to talk about this collar. This collar does hinder the articulation of the head just a little bit. It is a soft plastic, so it shouldn't hinder it too much, but it gets in the way just a little bit. If you see right here, it's already like pushing on the collar. You could force it to go all the way around. I'm not gonna do that right now, but I'm sure that you could force it. This figure is very stiff. Just to notice that if you hear kind of like that noise, it's just because how stiff the figure is. But yeah, I'm sure you could force it to rotate all the way around. All the other figures in the toy line, their heads are able to rotate that much. He doesn't really look down or up. You know, he's kind of limited to looking straight forward. That's a little unfortunate for this character because, like I said, he uses these skimmies to fly, and I think a flying character should, you know, when they're flying, they should kind of either have an up crunch to look forward, look up, or have his head at least move. So that's a little weird. But yeah, articulation. He does have his arms. They move out and in. He could also move it forward and back. And the cape doesn't hinder it. You know, it might touch the edge of it, but you know, like I said, with some force, you should be able to move it all the way around. So that's good, and it is the same for both sides. Like it shouldn't hinder it at all. It just, you know, touches the edge of it, but you should be fine. The arms themselves, they do have a swivel on the upper arm right here. He has a double jointed elbow. So yeah. And then he has a swivel right here at the hand. The swivel all the way around. The hand themselves can also move move inward and outward. So something I always point out with these figures, the design of these figures are kind of designed to hide their articulation points. So they do have the articulation, they do have the cuts for them, but they try to sculpt it in to kind of hide within the natural, I guess, body form. You can kind of tell, like this does look like a regular arm, but obviously it still has, you know, those articulation points. That design choice does hinder it just a little bit. He doesn't really have that well of an ab crunch. The figure itself, this is as far as it wants to move forward, and then this is as far back. Overall, I think it's a decent amount. It's obviously not the best, but I think I'm willing to kind of give up some of the movement just for have a better looking figure. So I think it's a fair compromise. The legs, they move, excuse me, they move this far apart, this much forward, and this much back. So like I always point out that this figure, the legs tend to move outward instead of back, but it's still fine in my personal opinion. The knees, just like the elbows, are double jointed. This figure, he doesn't have a separate boot mold, so this is all just one piece. So unfortunately, he doesn't have a calf cut and there's no swivel here. His foot does move forward and back, and his foot also has the ability to kind of move side to side. So, yeah. Design wise, I really like the design of this figure. I think they've done a really great job on the paint. You know, all of the toy line so far of Wave 1 has been really top notch and really great. But like I said, I think this is probably my favorite figure just because it definitely, it's a lot more bolder and it looks a lot more colorful in my opinion. Something that's unique to this figure is that normally the DC icons, they tend to paint their costumes with a matte color, and then their gloves and their boots in a glossy color. But Mr. Miracle is actually painted in reverse, where I guess the main color of his suit is glossy, and then his gloves and his boots are matte. So I think that's definitely a very interesting choice, and you know, it makes Mr. Miracle stand out. I definitely like that. His main color, red, is glossy, but like you can kind of see right there, the yellow right here tends to be a more of a matte color. And I'm not sure, but I also feel like the green that they're using is a little shimmery. It could just be how the light is reflecting on it, but I just feel like even though it's matte, it's still very shiny. I definitely like the sculpting that they put into it. I feel like these lines, you know, to kind of differentiate the greens and the reds and the yellows. They're not just color like painted on. I feel they are sculpted in there. So I think that's really cool. I also feel they used maybe like a darker tone to kind of really show that muscle definition. Definitely like that. Normally these figures, they're mass produced and they get painted real fast, and so there are tend to be sometimes some paint mishaps and some bleeding. But so far on this figure, I haven't really seen anything. The only thing I've noticed so far, and it's very minute, and honestly, I personally was looking for something like this. It right here, there seems to be just a little bit of a paint mishap, but it's really like nonchalant and it's so unnoticeable that even if you were to play with it and look directly at it, you're not even gonna notice it too much. So, like I've been saying in all these figures, the paint on these guys they're just top notch. I kind of want to point out, like, like the eyes, right? The pupils are white, but then they kind of drew this black eyeliner, and it's like the white is white, the black is black. It doesn't seem to be messing up. So I definitely like that. Um, I like how they even added like sculpting within his belt. That's it's just I feel like it's the small details that really make the figure just a great purchase. Also, they did like darken just a little bit right here in the abs, but just like how the light reflects on this guy, it kind of puts a little bit of shadowing throughout his body, and I think that's just really awesome and great. His cape is a soft plastic. If you guys saw my Batman review, it's similar in that, but I feel this cape is a lot softer. It still has kind of like the molding and sculpting of these like ridges and like wrinkles, to kind of show that this is a cloth cape. Something that I don't like is that the design they put on it, it kind of makes the cape seem smaller. It doesn't seem like a full cape. I would have liked it to be a little wider. I think this character, he kind of has, I kind of see him with this big cape flying in the air when he's with his skimmies. So I'm a little disappointed in that, but like I pointed out with Batman, it's not just a cape that drapes over the body. They kind of sculpted it, or I guess formed it in a way that it kind of goes over in this like loop. It's not just fully flushed down. I definitely like that design choice. It gives this cape a lot of character, in my opinion. Yeah, definitely like these kind of like, I don't know what you call them, but like the buttons to hold the cape onto his suit. They're sculpted in, and they're gold color. So definitely like that. But yeah, overall, I definitely have to recommend this figure to, Mr. Miracle fans, to DC Comics fans, to just, action figure collector fans in general. I think this is really great. All of the DC Icon toy lines has been top notch, but I think Mr. Miracle is kind of that, so far in Wave 1 is kind of like that, shiny gold, big ruby on the belt buckle, if you will. To kind of give you guys a little bit of a comparison, I do have the DC Comics Icon Green Arrow figure. Again, he is in the same wave and the same toy line as Mr. Miracle. I also have Deadman action figure. This is the same thing, DC Comics Icon, same wave, same line. I just like showing this to you guys because, one, it's really easy to stand these guys up. You don't really have to fidget with them, and I think that's awesome for action figures in general. But I also want to show you guys that if you invest in this toy line, these figures do look like they belong with one another. They stand in scale. They just look great overall. He seems to be just as tall as Green Arrow. Green Arrow seems to have a little bit of height just because his hood goes over his head, and Deadman still seems to be the tallest in this toy line. It just seems to really go over Mr. Miracle's head. To give you guys just another little comparison, I have Batman, same thing, DC Comics Icon, same toy line, same wave, and again, they just look good, you know. But yeah, like I said, I definitely recommend this figure. I think it's a great purchase, a great buy. And just overall, it looks awesome. Would like to ask you guys to please comment down below with any type of suggestions, any criticism, any tips you guys could give me to improve these videos for you guys. I would greatly appreciate it. I do want to dedicate this channel to mainly toy reviews. So anything that I can do to better improve myself, I would just greatly appreciate it. But like always, guys, comment down below, like if you liked the video, dislike it if you didn't, and subscribe, and look forward to more videos. Thanks and goodbye.